lap of 450 metres after the 200-metre run-in, and then 5 long laps. 78 entrants from 24 different countries. Here we just see the graphic of the circuit. You've seen this once already, just ahead of the under-23 men's race, so I think this is a good moment just to very quickly hand over to my colleague Mark for his thoughts on this race.
Well, actually, I was going to ask you about this, Phil, because you came over here with the Spanish, and to me, they look at really full strength, and particularly with Adel Mechal, who ran so well in the World Championships 1500 metres this year.
Yes, I think Menchel could well be a factor in the senior men's race a bit later on in the morning. Perhaps the Spanish team not quite so strong in the women's race, but potential medal contenders. Last year they finished 5th in the team race. Here's the start list. Well, Grovdal, nobody to accompany her in the funnel, the silver medalist. Then we have Ines Montero, interesting entrant, now 37 years of age. The first ever European under-20 cross-country champion back in 1997. Very, very strong British squad. Every single one of those 6 women has won a gold medal in some form or another. But also the good Turks, Chan, gold medalist last year, silver medalist, Akdag, Trihas Gebre, finished 7th last year in Chia. Fionnuala McCormack, 2-time former champion, 2011-2012, celebrating a record 15th appearance for women. And Meref Bata, well, the Swede ran very, very well to win in Belgium recently. A very good race. There's Marusa Mizmaz, well-known Slovenian runner who's won on European level under-23 medals on the track. She'll be on her own on the outside of the funnel. I mean, it's, well, just remembering turning the clock back 12 months to Cheer and the way that Chan and Akdag just ran away from the rest of the field. Is there anyone who can realistically challenge the Turks, even though we're in a very, very different environment?
I think it's interesting to look back to last year, because we have Chan and Akdag, and also, as you mentioned, Grovdal. I think that gap is not going to be as big between those first two, if that is the case, as it was last year, because Grovdal ran a superb steeplechase race at the end of last season after the World Championships. She's another hungry athlete. Her World Championships didn't go so well. She had to drop out of the 5,000 metres there when she was ill. She's come back. She's run one of the fastest steeplechases in the world this year.
You can see Grovdal in the background, just going through in the background and running over to the left-hand side with the field marshal giving them the 3 minutes to go signal. Just that was the big 3 being held up. There we see Grovdal with the headband, long sleeves, alongside Rutkovska, who Rutkovska, I think, got to about 4th or 5th place last year in the under-20 race, if I remember rightly. I'll just double check that in a moment as we pan through the teams. No, in fact, it was Rutkovska who got 5th in the women's under-23 race, a very fine runner. So there we have the former European under-20 cross-country champion, Emilia Gorecha, now back after several years of injury. And 2014 European champion,
Gemma Steele. She's the overall British team captain here, and she gave a rousing speech last night to the team meeting.
Yeah. Alongside are the Turks, Yasmin Chan and Miriam Akdag at the front, wearing the sunglasses in the Romanian team, and Kuta Bobasel, 4th last year. Yes, I was just noting that, in fact, the top 9 from last year have all returned from this race, and of course we've got some progressing senior, yes, very effervescent. Kuta Bobasel, great personality, great character. Trihas Gebre, 7th last year, the leading Spaniard. Lugueros, tucked in beside her. There's Fionnuala McCormack, great icon for Irish distance running. these days concentrating on the roads, but this is one part of her development towards probably attempting the marathon at the European Championships in Berlin next year, where if she does, she could potentially be a medal contender. There's Meraf Barter, one of two Swedes in this race. Now, I have to say, I'm going to be a bit controversial here. This is what I don't like. Two members of the same team wearing different apparel.
I agree with you, and it makes our life very difficult. And providing their approved kit, that's the rule. And obviously that they have approved two different types of kit, but
it's a bit naughty, isn't it? Let's say that.
When you're looking to try and work out who's in team races, of course, I don't think they've got a scoring team.
Yeah.
So it's not so much of a problem there.
Fortunately, we've seen that kit, both the gold and the blue ensemble, for a number of years, so it's not too difficult to spot them. And the senior women's race over 8,230 metres is underway. And Kuta Bobosel wearing the Romanian top with a long-sleeve fluorescent long-sleeve garment is to the fore at the moment, followed by Roxana Barsa coming around the outside. Caroline Björkli-Grovdal up alongside. So 3 and 4 from last year, 1 and 2 at this moment, very early stages of the race, barely 200 metres undergone. Emilia Gorecha getting right up there and getting a good position as well. Miriam Akdag on the inside in about 4th place, 2nd last year. There's Fabian Schlumpf, who finished 8th last year. I haven't mentioned Schlumpf, but very good Swiss runner.
27 years old, Caroline Björkli-Grovdal ran recently a very
Well, I had the chance to speak to Yasmin Şan yesterday with the Turkish delegation. She seemed quite happy, but she was playing down her chances a little. She had one cross-country race earlier on in the season in October, and then a road race in Istanbul, which she won, but not perhaps as well as she did this time last year.
Yes, but she comes here in very fine form, having set 2 championship records at both 5,000 and 10,000 metres at the European Under-23 Championships. And, of course, Chan could potentially have run in the Under-23 race, although I suspect in the form she's in, she would have made somewhat of a mockery of it. And just 20 years of age. I'll just have to check. I think it's her birthday somewhere around now, isn't it? I remember last year we were saying that championships were more or less on her birthday. I think she turns 21 maybe in the next couple of days. Nevertheless, well, she's picking her way through that sand trap. A bit tentative, but Chan edging away through to the front. It's Bobosel up the front. All 6 British runners in the top 15 or 20 at this stage of the race, bunched together. Roxana Barsa. Barsa winning the Balkan cross-country title just a few weeks ago when it was staged in Turkey. Akdag and Chan didn't contest that race. As we go all the way down. So, most of the main protagonists that we were expecting, we can see up in the front there. Grovdal, Chan, Bobosel, Akdag, Barsa, Barter, the tall Swede. Barter now 28 years of age, former European champion at 5,000 metres. So just about a kilometre into this race. Now Chan now getting into a very familiar position for her in European events to the fore. Miriam Akdag on her shoulder, Meraf Barter and Karolina Björkli-Grovdal in 3 and 4 leading the Scandinavian Challenge. Sweden and Norway.
Yes, I think you're right, Phil. It's her birthday tomorrow, 21. It's hard. It's difficult to...
I remember that from last year.
It's strange to think of her as being so young, but she's won so much. 2 European senior titles, 2 European Under-23 titles, and now she's going for a 2nd individual cross-country title.
Well,
And don't forget, Turkey won the team race last year, so let's have a look to see who the third Turkish scorer is.
There you see Ankuta Bobasel going through the picture there, and I think just about the full complement of the 6-woman British team in that pack. But at the moment there's a 5-1 breakaway group, and then Bobasel also up there, somewhat surprisingly at this stage, the Portuguese athlete Marta Penn, former Marta Freitas, better known. She's the US NCAA champion from last year when she was at Mississippi State University. Now back on this side of the Atlantic.
Title defender Yasmin Chan taking things under control. And Swedish and
Well, somebody went in the pond there, but
welcoming Slovakia.
couldn't tell you who it was. Still frozen, and it seems to freeze over between races. But now Yasmin Chan, followed by Merif Barta and Miriam Akdag. So it's Turkey, Sweden, Turkey. That's the 1, 2, 3. Roxana Barsa in 4th, and Karolina Björkli-Grovdal in 5th. Just coming up for 2 kilometres into this race.
Women's senior race. So far from 8 gold medals, Great Britain is
Ankuta Bobasel, Marta Penn at 6 and 7. Fabian Schlumpf 8th. Fionnuala McCormack, 2-time former European champion, in 9th at the moment. So quite a spread of nationalities there in the top 10. Well, it's about 15 metres between the leading 5 and then going back to Bobasel, Penn and Schlumpf in 5, 6 and 7. Sorry, 6, 7 and 8 I should say. Yasmin Chan really throwing down the gauntlet here though. Looking very calm and confident. Barta looking good behind her. Grovdal, familiar expression. Grovdal, of course, recently had that European leading time over 10 kilometres on the road in her favourite road race in Norway, in Hole. And she ran a very quick time.
Yes, she has fantastic range. And I heard that it had been her plan to contest the steeplechase for the whole of this year, but an early season injury put paid to that. And so she reverted to the 5 and 10,000. That didn't work out for her at the World Championships when she was ill, but she continues to run well across a range of distances.
Confirmation there of the top 5. Chan, Barta, Akdag, Bobasel and Barsa. There's the top 10. And just look at that group between 11th and 14th place for Britons. I'm going to be curious to see what the team standings look like at the moment, because we haven't seen the third Turk or the third Romanian at the moment. And they've both got 2 in the top 8.
I think the third Romanian is fairly high up, Simeon, 15th the last time
Yes.
we checked. But the third Turk, I think, is
Aydemir?
Yes.
Aydemir, yes.
In about 28th place the last time I saw.
Oh, well, we'll let the timing company do the calculations for you, as we're now seeing Yasmin Chan make a break. Romania, Turkey, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, indeed. That's the top 3 in the team standings at the moment, but we're still got 2/3 of this race to run. And running away with it at the moment is Yasmin Chan and Merif Barta.
And a bit of a surprise to see Akdag drop so far back suddenly. It's certainly not going to be the same as last year when her and Chan were way ahead of the rest. They no longer train together. Oh. Well, they are showing a room here, but I don't think she's in quite the form she was last year.
Winning some meters even.
Well, Chan is starting to pull away now, and now she's starting to pull away in from Barta. Barta now about 3 meters in arrears with Barca and Grovdal, and yes, you're absolutely right. Akdag is looking very, very leaden at this stage. Well, there are about 80 runners behind Akdag in 5th place at the moment, but this is definitely going to affect Turkey's chances of defending their team title. So it's Chan now, though, in familiar place, 1st place in the European cross-country championships, and she's really starting to stride away from her nearest rivals. Closest to her at the moment, Meref Barta from Sweden.
Remember that fact that after 9 minutes, Yasemin Chan attacked, and she is gaining more and more on Bakta.
Well, we can see there. Well, it's going to be a fascinating race. We're seeing now Akdag. We've talked about her, last year's silver medalist, starting to slip back already. It's going to be just looking at what's going on behind them. Yes, Romania packing very well at the moment for the team contest. But Chan, this is the point where I'm going to hand over to you. What's the biggest winning margin in the women's senior race?
That's a really good question.
Because last year, of course, it was nip and tuck between Chan and Akdag until quite late in the race. Well, Chan is really starting to exert her authority in this race. Barta in 2nd, duel for 3rd between Barta and Grovdal. And there's Charlotte Taylor, as part of last year's under-23 winning team for Great Britain, in 5th place at the moment. And it looks like Barca and Grovdal are gaining on Barta. Barta looks as though she's starting to slip back a little bit. Well, definitely that gap between 2nd, 3rd and 4th is starting to close. And then there's another gap of about, difficult to tell, there's a very sharp foreshortening effect when you're looking at the TV pictures, but I think it's about 30 metres between Grovdal in 4th place and Charlotte Taylor of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in 5th. But at the moment it's Yasemin Chan. Well, as Mark talked about, hasn't been racing quite as much since the end of the summer season. During the summer she did, of course, as I say, break both championship records by quite significant margins in Bydgoszcz. So there's Charlotte Taylor. Fabienne Schlumpf running well at the moment in 6th place. Stephanie Twell, 3-time former European under-20 champion in the top 10. Emilia Goretzka. And in 11th place, it's Simon, the 3rd Romanian. So I think it's very tight at the moment between Great Britain, Northern Ireland and Romania for the team title.
And to answer your earlier question, 15 seconds is the biggest winning margin.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that statistic when we get to the finish line, because that could be something to note later. Well, Barta now starting to pull away, that concertinaing effect. Barca and Grovdal almost on her shoulder for a while, and then Barca, as many runners do, seem to have gone through a slightly bad patch. Well, Great Britain, Northern Ireland just 1 point ahead of Romania. Turkey now slipping back, quite significant margin between the 2 leading teams, and Turkey. Well, it's Yasemin Chan striding away here. Well, just seems to hop over those barriers, doesn't seem to have any problems at the moment. Well, she's definitely a runner for all weathers. It was about 13 or 14 degrees when she won in Chia 12 months ago. It's 0 or thereabouts here in Šamorín.
Yes, these are very different to the conditions that she would have been training in Kenya and indeed in Turkey. Well, we know she's a very courageous runner because if you remember back to the World Championships in London, the 10,000 metres, she tried to hang on to Almaz Ayana when she made that fantastic break after about 2 kilometres in the 10,000 metres, but then paid the price for that and fell back to 11th. And she said afterwards that she was tired from having done the double in the under-23 championships the previous month, but now she's had a rest, she's prepared, a lot of training, not too many races, and this is the result.
Well, we were talking about the biggest winning margin being 15 seconds, and there's almost a 15-second gap now between Yasmin Chan. I think it's currently at about 13 seconds, so I was using my naked eye and the clock between Chan and the chasing group. Chasing group still, Meredith Barter of Sweden, Caroline Björkli Rovdal of Norway, and Roxana Barsa from Romania. Just totting up, having seen that Grovdal's in there. No less than 6 former European under-20 champions at this event are actually in the senior race, including the likes of Emilia Goretzka, Stephanie Twell, and also, as I mentioned earlier, back in long time ago, I said to 1999, Ines Monteiro, now 37 years of age, the second oldest woman in this race. Well, it's Yasmin Chan, I think the youngest woman in this senior race at just 20 years of age, celebrating her 21st birthday tomorrow, who's romping away with this event. Now, we're not far away from getting a split, and we'll be able to assess what the margin is. This part of the course, it gets a bit twisting, and so consequently it's a little bit difficult to assess the differences. They do have a couple of sharp turns at this part of the course. Well, I don't know, I don't think she's making many inroads.
Well, when we're comparing winning margins, we're not really comparing like with like, because when Anne-Marie Sandel won by 15 seconds in 1995, it was only a 4.5 kilometre course, so she would have finished by now. So
here we go. 3 long laps to go. There we go, 19 seconds now between Chan and the chasing trio of Barter, Grovdal and Barsa, and then another 5 seconds back to the British pair of Charlotte Taylor and another former under-20 champion, Stephanie Twell. Switzerland's Fabian Schlumpf, who you can see in shot there, having a good run in 7th place. Emilia Goretzka in 8th. Good return to form from Goretzka after several years of injury, following on from her under-20 successes.
Next followers, together with German Elena Burkhardt, and then another group with McCormack, Bobochel.
Well, I think that gap is now growing. It's really, well, Grovdal's now starting to make a surge. Although I think that gap realistically against a athlete of Chan's calibre is just going to be too much to make up, regardless of the fact that we've still got several kilometres of running to go. Great Britain, Northern Ireland now consolidating their lead in the team standings just a little bit, in front of 9 points in front of Romania.
looking at the splits in that last lap alone, Chan gained 10 seconds on the people behind her.
I've got a feeling she's going to continue putting distance between them, between herself and the rest of the chasing group. Well, Grovdal's trying to make some inroads. We saw a little bit of a effort by Grovdal. It's a long, long way back to Grovdal. Now Roxana Barsa, the Romanian, who's starting to be left behind a little bit. Her big success on the track this summer, was winning the Francophone 10,000 meter title. Well, Grovdal looking very determined. So that's Taylor. Taylor slipping back. It looks as though...
Well, Taylor actually gained a little bit on Barker and Grovdal in that last lap. It doesn't look...
Yeah, I think the last couple of 100 metres, though, she's actually starting to slip back. We're looking for Stephanie Twell. We see, maybe Stephanie Twell's broken away from her. Yes, Twell has moved away. Well, this is, at least for the silver and bronze medal, a race that's far from over or far to be decided. No, Taylor's improved now. It's Twell who's starting to drift back a little bit. Gorecha with the dark glasses, you saw just go through your screen there. It's one of the other British runners. There's Fionnuala McCormack. Well, just outside the top 10 at the moment. There's Chan coming around again. There's a few tight turns on this course, but they're not bothering Chan, who's operating at quite significantly higher level to the rest of the field. And Grovdal still pouring it on behind her, not making much of an impression on Chan. Trying to get away from Barter. Well, Barter ran... They've already faced each other once this winter on the roads in Hole in Norway, when Grovdal beat her over 10k by about 25 seconds. Well, now she's going to come round. Hear the bell very shortly. So just over 1,500 metres to go. There's still a fine battle behind them between Carolina Björkli Grovdal of Norway and Meredith Barter of Sweden. Battle for Scandinavian supremacy. There's Chan just going through the bell. So 1,500 metres and that 70-metre final straight. 21.36 for Chan after 6,660 metres. 17 seconds between Grovdal and Barter. So the gaps remain more or less consistent. I think that's as a result of Grovdal working hard. And then back to Taylor and Barca. Well, a lot of ground to make up for Taylor, but she's really moving very well. Elena Burkhardt come through into 7th place in the top 10. Gorecha and Twell 8th and 9th, so Britain still in the lead in the team competition. But this is the woman who's in the lead in the individual race, and by some considerable margin. Well over 100 metres, Yasmin Chan. Well, to date, the only woman to defend a title has been Fionnuala, Britain as she was, McCormack as she is now, 2011-212. Confirmation of the team standings, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, Romania, and now Portugal moving up. Oh, no, just an adjustment there. Turkey, Portugal is very, very close to the bronze medal position, though. So Yasmin Chan has the possibility of just becoming the second senior woman to win back-to-back titles at the Spar European Cross Country Championships. Only previous woman to retain her title, Fionnuala Britain, back in 2012, in the 24 years of existence of this race. Not the only double winner, Hayley Yelling, as we mentioned, did actually come back for a second title. Now Yasmin Chan really romping away with this race. Just a little more than a kilometre to go for this outstanding Turkish athlete.
And let's not forget, she started the year with a cross-country medal in the World Cross-Country Championships relay, where Turkey won the bronze. And they would have liked to have contested the relay here with her and some of the other individual runners, but of course the relay is after the individual races here, so it's not possible for them to do that.
You know what, though? I have the feeling that she could actually come back and run in that race and she'd still have an impact.
Well, she could, in theory, still do that, but she's not on the long list for it. But you're right. And some of the people in the earlier races may well be doing that, but the rest for the seniors isn't quite long enough, I think.
Well, it's a battle for the silver and the bronze between Barta and Grovedal. Barring rather tumultuous accidents, it's going to be gold going to Turkey once again in the shape of Yasmin Chan. Well, the gap is closing a little bit because of this battle. I think Chan's just easing off, knowing that she's effectively got the race won, even with quite a few hundred metres to go. She's not pushing hard, but she's not blowing hard either. She's really very, very relaxed, very confident.
Her last lap was a little bit slower, but only in relation to her own pace, not anybody else.
Yeah.
So this is a great display.
Well, it's not perhaps the most elegant of running styles, those arms swinging across her chest, but it is very, very effective. As she switches now into the final passage of the sand trap, so she's got probably around 200 metres still to go as she turns the corner. With some of the back markers just starting to embark on the last lap. Yasmin Chan makes her final turn. Yasmin Chan well on her way to gold medal. Champion in 2016. Well, there's the battle behind her for the silver medal. Meredith Barta and Caroline Björkli-Grovdal. Just turning into the home straight now, Yasmin Chan. And she's just about 50 metres away now from the line. Yasmin Chan of Turkey comes through to take the gold medal. Yasmin Chan of Turkey for the second consecutive year. Yasmin Chan of Turkey is the Spar European cross-country champion. What a battle behind them, though. What a battle between Barta and Grovdal for the silver and bronze, and Barta just takes it. Karolina Björkli-Grovdal, for the third year running, has to settle for the bronze as silver goes to Meredith Barta, equaling the biggest ever distance, though, between gold and silver. 15 seconds as Roxana Barsa comes through, wins the battle for fourth place. Elena Burkhardt, terrific run over the second half of the race to come through for fifth. Charlotte Taylor sixth. Fabienne Schlumpf moves up a place from last year and finishes seventh. Amelia Gretsch, former under-20 champion, returning to form after several years of injury. 2014 champion Gemma Steele in ninth place. Britain, 4 in the top 10. I'm pretty sure that, subject to confirmation, is going to give them the team title. Fourth last year, 11th this year, and Kuta Bobosel from Romania, two-time former champion. Fenula McCormack in 12th place this year. And the Romanians, 3 in the top 15. Just doing some very quick arithmetic. I think that's the silver medal in the team competition for Romania. I saw in the early stage of the race, Marta Pen from Portugal slipping back to 19th. Another former European under-20 champion, Ines Montero, having a great run in 21st place.
And we just saw Akdag there, the last year's silver medalist, finishing in about 28th place. I don't think she scored for Turkey, so that I think will harm their team chances.
As we see the rest of these runners come through the line. Well, no less than 78 runners started this race. We're still waiting for the remainder of the field to come through. I think you can see the British competitors congratulating each other. I think the words come down that they've got the team gold medals. So these runners finishing the best part of a kilometre behind the winner, Yasmin Can, as the diminutive Turkish runner. She never really has much to say, does Yasmin Can, but I think you can tell from the smile on her face, she's very pleased with that performance. And it really only took about 1,500 metres before she'd set out her stall and dominated the race. And although you really wouldn't have wanted to put your money on it just at that point in time, that really was the point where I think we suddenly realised that, well, not suddenly, we realised that Yasmin Can was well on her way to defending the title. Your thoughts on that race, as always, for your expert analysis, Mark?
She's getting quite a collection of gold medals now. 223s, 2 seniors, and now 2 individual cross-country golds before her 21st birthday. So that's not a bad set of achievements.
Indeed,
Grovdal, I think, ran with distinction for 3rd place, and Barter.
Well, I think many of the runners in the top 10. I mean, I was impressed. She won't get a medal of any description, but Elena Burkhardt, terrific run over the second half of the race from the German in 5th place. Came from a long way back, as we see some of the back markers. One of the home team, the Slovakian home team, come through the line there. That's Sylvia Schweiger, out on her feet. She'll recover pretty quickly, though. She can celebrate a fine performance by her own standards. So there's confirmation of the top 9. Yasmin Can defending her title by 15 seconds from Merit Bafta, and Karolina Björkli-Grovdal bronze for the 3rd year in succession. Yes, you're right.